Watch KSTV weeknights at 7:30 and 11 Eastern, and anytime with Inside On Demand on Channel 103.
And we are now very happy to be joined with the expert with maybe the most insight, ESPN's Jay Bilas. Jay, thank you for joining us. How are you today?
I'm doing great, guys. How are you?
Good. We did a little before the break. We broke down Anthony Davis. He, of course, is going to go #1 overall in the draft. Even though New Orleans isn't saying it, he's not saying it, which is kind of weird. But as a prospect, when you look at Anthony Davis, he seems like a guy that no one's really talking about any bust potential at all. Is he skilled to a point where you expect him to contribute immediately and not have any chance of failing?
Well, I mean, I guess everybody's got a chance to fail. I don't see that as a probability in any way. But Anthony's got a great skill set. He can block shots, he can run, he can change shots. He's got tremendous defensive range, and I think his offense is only going to get better and better as he matures. He's got a lot of potential to be a great player.
Yeah. Now talk about Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. There's a lot of talk where he'll go 2 through 5. Talk about him as a prospect, and also what would be a best fit for him as a player.
Well, I think he'll fit in anywhere because he has a skill that not everybody has. He plays hard on every play, and that's a great thing. I mean, we talk about it a lot and wanting to see it in players, but not everybody has it, and it's unique, honestly. I think he'll. So that said, I think he would fit in anywhere he's taken because of that ability, his ability to guard people, to play hard all the time, and all that. Now, offensively, he's not a great offensive prospect. He doesn't shoot the ball well. I think he needs to overhaul that shot and refine it. His mechanics just aren't particularly good. But his length and athleticism and his ability to play in transition and put the ball on the deck and get to the free throw line translates very well to the NBA. He can guard anybody from a point guard to a 4 and be a solid player. I think, though, the issue of his ability to score, traditionally when you talk about top 5 picks, you're not questioning their ability to score. But I think it's a legitimate question with Michael. Will he be able to score at a high level in the NBA? He'll get energy points, out of transition, off the drive, offensive rebounds, all that stuff. But his ability to consistently knock down shots and be a go-to scorer, I think those are fair questions to ask.
Now, there was an article, I don't know if you saw it here in Kentucky, that said, it was an interview with an NBA scout that said John Calipari's system is smoke and mirrors. The guys really aren't prepared for the NBA. Now, you've, of course, seen lots of basketball, college basketball, particularly Kentucky. When you look at what they're doing with their system, they're turning out NBA players, but have you ever gotten the feeling that they're not really prepared for the NBA like this scout had said?
No, I don't think it has anything to do with the system. And in part, I think that's a tribute to John, and in part, you can take something away from him in a way. I mean, I don't think it's fair to say John Calipari develops NBA talent. I think that's a little bit of an overstatement. Here's what I think: John Calipari is not a good coach. He's a great basketball coach. I think if the players stayed with him longer, of course they'd be far better prepared to go into the NBA. He's got such tremendous talent assembled that they've been able to go 1 year out, and I don't care who they're playing for. No coach in this 6-month period is going to somehow teach a prospect that can't play to play in the NBA. They've got tremendous talent levels, and I don't think Derrick Rose has really struggled. I don't think the system's held him back, or John Wall, or anything like that. So I would disagree with the sort of the unnamed scout in that. It's funny how college coaches are tagged with positive and negative developing talent. And you never hear anybody say, oh, boy, that Larry Brown, he really develops all-stars and he develops Hall of Famers. Or Phil Jackson does a great job of developing talent. They never say that. That's not tagged. NBA coaches aren't tagged with that. That's up to the individual player. And the coach is responsible for putting talent together into a winning team. But I've always found that really interesting, how the college coach is tabbed with player development, but not the NBA coach.
Well, to that point, John Calipari, the one and done thing has always been what people have criticized him about. There was a lot of people shared an opinion that he just rolled the ball on the court and let the guys play. Do you think winning the title this year changed that perception? He feels, after they won the title, he said it wasn't about me, it's about the players. But he seems to have a little bit more of a comfortability level, I guess, in meeting with the media, a little more cockiness than usual, which he's always been a very confident guy. Do you think this validated validated him or has changed his perception at all?
Well, I think it validated him with the people who say, you're not at the highest level until you win. And it's funny how that's kind of unique to basketball. I mean, there are a bunch of football coaches that are called great. They've never won a national championship and never played in a BCS bowl, but they're considered, great. Basketball coaches somehow have to have a championship to validate them. How John has reacted to it. I mean, I think he's been a great coach wherever he's been. When he was at UMass, he was great. He had UMass at number one. You don't do that without being able to coach. And this idea about rolling the balls out there, it's absurd. I mean, and laughable, frankly. I think the one and done thing of John getting tagged with that is a little bit unfair too. I think if you had taken all these players individually, Anthony Davis, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, run all down the line with them, they would have gone after 1 year if they'd all gone to different schools. And I played for Mike Krzyzewski at Duke. He's had a bunch of guys leave early, and there's no suggestion of a problem. And I think the issue is, John's upfront about it. He talks about it, and he sells it. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But there are a lot of voices out there, and some of the voices take umbrage with it, and that's fine. He's still doing his thing. Kentucky's doing their thing, and I applaud it. I think it's great.
Back to the draft for just a second before we go. Darius Miller probably has the biggest window of where he could go in the draft. What do you think that where Darius Miller will go, or do you think he's a late first rounder, early second rounder, or do you think he'll live up to playing a long career in the NBA like some think?
I think he will play in the NBA. Now, how long, I don't know, but I think he's got the tools to play for a while because he's very good defensively. He's strong. He's got a good body. He's a good athlete. He can shoot it. He can hit a mid-range shot. He's got a lot of tools, and he's willing to blend in. There are only a precious few superstars in the NBA. Everybody else has to play a role, and Darius Miller has proven he can play a role on a championship team and a great team. And he's a really good teammate. He keeps his head down and goes to work. He doesn't say much, and he's easy to work with. And I think that's a great selling point. I think he's a second-round pick. I don't think he'll sneak into the first round, but you never know. If somebody likes him at the end of that first round, which are usually reserved for the teams that have done well, that are looking for pieces like that, it wouldn't surprise me to see that happen. Or it wouldn't shock me, I should say. It would surprise me, but not shock me.
One of the biggest stories here this summer has been Kentucky's not going to play Indiana. But as a part of that, John Calipari's picked up Baylor. They want to play maybe a triple header. And they're going to play Duke this year in the Champions Classic. And then he said going forward, they might play them on an every-year basis. Now, Kentucky fans have always thought of Duke as a rival. And I know you played at Duke, coached there. Is there a real rivalry there? And if not, do you think that's something that can be built over the next couple of years?
I think it can definitely be built. I mean, there's clearly, when you have two programs that have been that good traditionally over the years, a rivalry will not be that hard to spark. But I don't think you can have, sort of a true rivalry unless you play all the time. But, the last time, I know Kentucky and Duke have played several times. Last time I can remember it was in early 2000s when they played in the Meadowlands in one of those early season games. And it was electric. That's the way it should be. And I think it would be great if they would play every year. I think it would be great if Indiana and Kentucky played every year. I think it would be great if Duke and Louisville played every year. But the truth is all those teams can't play each other every year. And if Duke and Kentucky replace the Indiana-Kentucky thing, that would be – I think college basketball would be fine with that. Overall, not that there's anybody in charge. We know that there's not. But I'm okay with this whole, if Indiana and Kentucky can't come to terms, I think they will in the future because somebody's going to pay them a boatload of money for it. And as soon as the money goes up high enough, they'll play wherever the money says play. And so I don't have a problem with them taking a little bit of a break. That's just business.
Yeah, and if Duke fans are half as excited as Kentucky fans are about it, it'll be a great series. I know that. Jay Bilas, thank you very much for joining us. We'll check you out on ESPN and keep up with our Young Jeezy lyrics on Twitter. Appreciate you stopping by.
Thanks, Jay.
Real recognize real, fellas. Thanks for having me.
Amen. True words have never been spoken on this show.